Hello, my lovely and delightful friends. I got another video for you guys. And this one is pretty pertinent about what's going on in the world right now. We wouldn't be talking about something that isn't pertinent, right? So, what is this video about? I want to talk about this meme, this new thing that's sort of arisen in our cultural vernacular. I don't know. I think it's been around maybe 2 or 3 years or something like that. I don't know. This is when I first started to hear this, maybe a little earlier. But this is the whole idea of being woke, W-O-K-E, woke. Now, what is my understanding of being woke? Well, from being around so-called awakened people, woke people, I realize that this is a very multifaceted level of what it means to be woke and what I think is the true woke. So let me sort of talk about what I mean by when I say woke. When somebody says the word woke, what I think that they're saying is that there's this awareness of something that's outside of the mainstream. So it could be an awareness of a problem that's going on in the world, maybe an awareness of some sort of injustice in the world, some kind of a cultural injustice or some sort of social injustice or some sort of gender injustice. And that's not to say that there's not an element of that's important. I'll give you an example of one of this level of wokeness that I mean. I had this one sort of white privilege awareness moments when I was in China one time, and I guess I'll tell a brief story. When I was taking a trip to Japan to visit Japan, and I just had a backpack on. I was, just looked like some regular backpacker kid. And there was a man that was behind me. He looked ever so slightly Middle Eastern, and he looked like he was just wearing a backpack and going about his day, going about his life, whatever. And there's like 4 Chinese police like swarmed him and started questioning him in English. They're like, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" And I could tell he was just like pretty disconcerted and pretty upset. And he was just like, "I'm just going on my airplane, like I'm just going on a trip." So it was at that moment that I sort of had this awareness of, wow, nobody really questions what I'm doing. Nobody thinks that what I'm doing is untoward. Nobody sees me and they just assume that I'm going to be doing something bad. They don't assume that I'm going to steal something. They don't assume that I'm going to hurt anybody or attack anybody. And it was sort of at that moment of awareness that I was like, wow, okay, I get this. This is something that's really disturbing that exists within the world. Is this white privilege? So I think that this is just a little example of one of the levels of woke that I think people talk about. But there's so much more to this idea of what it means to be woke. So the next level of being woke that I would say is questioning the mainstream narrative about, I'm not going to say this, I'll probably get flagged, the VAX movement and the FIVEGEE movement, right? I'm not going to say that because I'll get flagged. I know I'll get flagged. And, someone's texting me. And so so a lot of these people that are questioning the mainstream narratives, that are questioning what they see on television, or they're questioning what they see on mainstream media, that's another level of woke. And I think that this is sort of where some people can get stuck, and sort of where some people can just sort of plateau. And I think that there's different levels of woke. So you can be aware of social injustice. You can be aware of what's going on behind the scenes and be aware of, I don't know, like the Federal Reserve and everything like that and what they're doing. But there is one last level of what I think it truly means to be woke. And I think that that's kind of a joke. It's sort of even an insult to call this woke. And this is why I think that most people that call themselves woke are really not. Oh, I forgot. Here's another level of woke. Another level of woke is this idea of crystal healing and chakra meditations and manifestations. And don't get me wrong, there's definitely some great things about those things. And I talk about that a lot in my channel. These are things to be aware of. This is more has to do with how the body works, how the body functions. And dieting is another thing, like this whole idea of alternative medicine, alternative spirituality. I think that there's definitely a lot of truth in that, but there's also a lot of falsehood in that. With just about with everything, just about with some of the stuff you see on conspiracies. Some of that stuff's not true. So you really have to have discernment to know what's true and what's not true, and what's just a theory and what's actually just fact. And believe me, I've been proven wrong many different times before from my understandings. And again, I'm okay with being wrong about things. Ultimately, I want to get to the truth and what the truth is. So I think that those are different levels of what it means to be woke. And I think that that's such a silly expression, because what the true awakening is that once you start to get past these levels of social injustice, once you start to get past the levels of understanding your body more and understanding what's really going on about real human history, real human, just everything, is when you really get into the levels of what's actually important. And this is doing the spiritual deep work. This is where you get into the levels of true wokeness. And it's a completely different thing. It is a absolutely completely different thing, because those that really do the transformational work, now again, I'm not speaking from like I have all the answers, but I have seen a lot of people that have really done the transformational work. I try to practice awareness meditation and all these things to really get at the core of the BS that's going on in my own life, to try to figure out my own life so I can stop having limiting belief systems that I have in my own life. Is the real woke is doing the deep work. Now, what do I mean by doing the deep work? It's really breaking down the crap that has been built up in your life, the limiting belief systems, facing fear head on and just staring it in the face until you feel comfortable staring at that demon and laughing it off. Really doing the deep work, really healing the trauma in your life, healing the anger, healing the vitriol that you have. I mean, my goodness, we have so many limiting belief systems about relationships. And I mean, I had a pretty traumatic breakup in my life at one point, and that was really traumatic for me. And I had to really do a lot of healing. In a lot of respects, I'm still doing healing from that. And I think that at any given point in life, people are always healing themselves and really trying to get at that root level. And the real woke is somebody who has this incredible stillness in their heart, this incredible compassion, this incredible love, this incredible joy, this abundance, and this radiance that comes from the heart, that is transcendent of duality. It is in a state of service. It's in a state of love for humanity. And there are very, very few people that you meet that are really at that level of brilliance and of awareness and of love and of just pure consciousness. That's the real woke. And that takes tremendous discipline. Many times people will have to go through ego deaths. And if you've ever been through an ego death, I personally haven't been through an ego death, so I can't really speak with authority on this. But I've had things similar to ego deaths, but not pure ego death where my identity just completely erases and I go back to just pure potentiality energy. You might have to go through an ego death to really get to that state. And the thing about ego deaths is that they are terrifying. It's because it just completely dissolves all you know to be true. But once you reach past that level of awareness, that's when the real emancipation of your soul and your heart happens. This is the true woke. And I meet lots of people that are conspiracy theorists in town and just in general. And they are really embittered. They're bitter. They're angry. They are jaded. They're mad. They just have this anger and this dark muck bitterness about them. And yeah, they can be aware of what's going on, but are they really awakened? Are they really awakened to who they are? Because if they were really awakened to their power, they were really awakened to who they are, they would feel this love and this compassion and this desire to serve every single day. That's the true awakening. And that is what it truly means to be woke. And I think that if you strive for that level of wokeness, all of these other levels of these lesser wokes, if you want to call it that, will just sort of naturally come into place. It's like the whole principle of if you strive to make money, it's only going to fall short and you're only going to get so far. But if you strive to serve humanity and provide value first, then the money will fall. Then the money will come, I should say. So it's sort of like coming with the end goal in mind, which is the emancipation of the heart and the mind of each individuated consciousness. If you strive towards that true awakening, that's when everything else happens. You can learn the other way. I think that I am learning the other way. I became very disillusioned. I became very angry. I sort of ran away in a little bit of a respect. But it's only until recently did I really feel this love and this compassion, this desire to really serve and give back. And now I feel love towards every single human being that I talk to, and I really desire to help them and to serve them. It's not fake. It's not. You can't fake that, you can only fake it for so long before people are like, oh, this is just to make money, or this is just to appease your ego. And it's really not even about that. And this is the true awakening. And just as another point that I want to bring up to you is that it's not just one thing where you reach an awareness, you reach an awakening, and it's all just hunky-dory cakewalk for the rest of your life. This is where you have to continually remind yourself. You have to continually bring yourself back to that state of love and that state of service, because it's very easy to get disillusioned. It's very easy to get angry. It's very easy to get drawn back down into that negativity. So strive for the end goal in mind, which is the emancipation of your heart, your mind, and your soul. And when you can do that for yourself, you can be the example for other people and everybody around you. And people will naturally gravitate towards you. People will naturally look to you as a leader. And this is what the true woke means. The true woke means. And you'll realize that there's very, very few people that are at that level. Very few people that are at that level. And the people that are at that level, they're very difficult to find, because they realize that society that we live in is just full of all this nonsense. And they realize that at any given point, they can be bombarded with this negativity, this negative energy of people posting crap on social media, or people talking crap about other people, or really anything. It's every time you go out your door, I don't mean to sound so dramatic, but it's almost like you're gearing up. You're putting on the armor to fight against the negative socially conditioned programming that's all around you, all over. Like the second you step outside, you're going to see all these advertisements telling you that you need this to feel beautiful, you need this to be worthy, you need to do this to feel accepted within society. And we listen to music that has all this crap in it. We eat all this food that has all this crap in it. We surround ourselves with low consciousness people that are just talking about negative things and talking about destructive behaviors, and it's really exhausting. And when you start to realize that this is a lot of what's going on in the world, it makes sense that these very awakened people just want to escape from that and not even put themselves in that environment, not even put themselves in that energy. And it takes a really strong and aware person to be able to be grounded and centered in that love and in that awareness, and be able to step in that situation and transmute that negative energy. Because you need to be the light. You need to be the awakened, shining light that helps melt that negativity, that helps penetrate into the veil of the crap that people are talking about, and plant the seeds of encouragement, plant the seeds of enlightenment, plant the seeds of the awakening, and water that with your example. This is your example. True spiritual leaders live through example. Because if they were talking about things, you would be a fool. You would be double the fool if you were preaching about something and you weren't living it yourself. Because what does that say? What is it? That says that you're lying. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to other people. And why should people listen to you if you're not living that? Why should people listen to you if you're not serving? Why should people listen to you if you preach love and stuff like that, and you're just talking nonsense and crap? And don't get me wrong, like sometimes I find myself doing that, sometimes. But I think that as time goes on and you really realize who you are, that when you talk about those things, there's almost like this immediate karmic consequence. Like you start to feel bad. You start to feel like, oh man, did I really say that? Did I really do that? And you feel this urge, this pull to make things right, to heal things immediately. It's Because I think that those that aren't really aware of this, they will hide behind their ego. They'll say, oh, like it's all their fault. It's everything, and then they'll hide behind this front of their ego that wants to protect their own pride, which is all just an illusion anyway. And I think those that are really awakened will directly confront that dispute or that negative energy, and will come at it with a state of pure love and compassion, with no desires at all to get one over on somebody or to win an argument or anything, because we realize that when we're looking at somebody, we're looking at a reflection of ourselves. That's so important. And the reason why there's so much anger and there's so much hatred in the world and there's so much separation is because we ourselves are separated from ourselves. We're separated from ourselves. And the real woke work comes from coming back to yourself, coming back to the heart, coming back to the love. And when you do that, when you do the work, when you do the deep work, that's when you can be the example for people. And now more than ever, that's what we need. And that if you're watching this video, that's what you're called to do. That's what you're called to do. And in fact, that's what every human being on this earth is called to do. But if you came across this video, that's what you're called to do. So I love you guys. I really love you guys and care about you guys. And I'm always here to help you guys in any way that I can, because I love you guys, and I crave the emancipation of the hearts and minds and souls of every single human being. I really do. And I'm here for you guys, and I love you. Thank you.